Lesson 135. If I defend myself, I am attacked. Welcome to the Qigong support for A Course in Miracles. I am Judith and you're at the Lucid Mind Center. First, we're going to read the Course in Miracles lesson together and we're going to contemplate it together. And at the end, I will suggest a Qigong class for you, which is suitable to this lesson. It can be a standing or a moving meditation or a seated Qigong meditation. Before we start, make sure to subscribe to my channel so more Course in Miracles students can find me. Let me know where you're watching from and how long you've been with A Course in Miracles. Let me know how it goes for you as well. I will not be editing out what I am saying. I'm just going to allow things to come and you make yourself comfortable and let's spend a little time together contemplating lesson 135 together. Let's begin. If I defend myself, I am attacked. Who would defend himself unless he thought he was attacked, that the attack is real and that his own defense can save himself? And herein lies the folly of defense. It gives illusion full reality and then attempts to handle them as real. It adds illusions to illusions, thus making correction doubly difficult. And it is this you do when you attempt to plan the future, activate the past, or organize the present as you wish. You operate from the belief you must protect yourself from what is happening, because it must contain what threatens you. A sense of threat is an acknowledgement of an inherent weakness, a belief that there is danger which has power to call on you to make appropriate defense. The world is based on this insane belief. And I have to say that I am totally victim to that. If I defend myself, I am attacked. That means that I do always plan for the future, activate the past, and organize the present. I do. Let's see what it means. The world is based on this insane belief, and all its structures, all its thoughts and doubts, its penalties and heavy armaments, its legal definition and its codes, its ethics and its leaders and its gods, all serve but to preserve its sense of threat. For no one walks the world in armature but must have terror striking at his heart. So basically, because we have got all those laws in place and because we are protecting ourselves, we are basically feel threatened. We are expecting something to come to us. If I defend myself, I am attacked. So if I'm putting all those defense mechanisms in place, it's because I feel I'm attacked or I am preparing to be attacked. Defense is frightening. Defense is frightening. It stems from fear, increasing fear as each defense is made. You think it offers safety, yet it speaks of fear made real and terror justified. It is not strange you do not pause to ask as you elaborate your plans and make your armor thicker and your locks more tight. What you defend and how and against what? Let us consider first what you defend. It must be something that is very weak and easily assaulted. It must be something made easy prey, unable to protect itself and needing your defense. What but the body has such frailty that constant care and watchful, pardon me, that constant care and watchful deep concern is needful to protect its little life. What but the body falters and must fail to serve the Son of God as worthy host? It is the body. If I defend myself, I am attacked. Yet it is not the body that can fear, nor be a thing to fear. It has no need but those which you assign to it. Let me repeat this. Yet it is not the body that can fear, nor be a thing to fear. It has no need but those which you assign to it. So only the needs which we are assigning to it, it has, these are the needs it has. It needs no complicated structure of defense, no health-inducing medicine, no care and no concern at all. Defend its life or give it gifts to make it beautiful or walls to make it safe, and you but say your home is open to the thief of time, corruptible and crumbling, so unsafe it must be guarded with your very life. Is not this picture fearful? Can you be at peace with such a concept of your home? Yet what endowed the body with the right to serve you thus expect your own belief? Let me repeat this. Yet what endowed the body with the right to serve you thus accept your own belief? It is your mind which gave the body all the functions that you see in it and set its value far beyond a little pile of dust and water. Who would make defense of something that he recognized as this? The body is in need of no defense. This cannot be too often emphasized. It will be strong and healthy if the mind does not abuse it by assigning it to roles it cannot fill, to purposes beyond its scope, and to exalted aims which it cannot accomplish. Such attempts, ridiculous yet deeply cherished, are the sources for the many mad attacks you make upon it. For it seems to fail your hopes, your needs, your values, and your dreams. The self that needs protection is not real. The body, valueless and hardly worth the least defense, need merely be perceived as quite apart from you, and it becomes a healthy, serviceable instrument through which the mind can operate until its usefulness is over. Who would want to keep it when its usefulness is done? This is something very important to unpack here. The self that needs protection is not real. That means that yourself, if you see yourself as a body, that self is not real. The body, valueless and hardly worth the least defense. So this body, according to this particular paragraph here, is valueless and hardly worth the least defense. Need merely be perceived as quite apart from you. So merely, we just need to look at this body as apart from us, as apart from you, as apart from me. So this body is not me. That is the first phrase here, the first statement. And it becomes a healthy, serviceable instrument through which the mind can operate until its usefulness is over. So this body is just to be used as long as we need it. As long as it's useful. When it's not useful, then we let go of it and we move on. And of course, we cherish our bodies, we look after it. But then again, if you have a good instrument, then you look after it. If you've got a car which serves you, then you go and service it. You look after it, you clean it. You do the same with the body. But you must not mix it up and believe that the body is you. And this is quite hard. It is quite hard to look at it that way. Defend the body and you have attacked your mind. If I defend myself, I am attacked. So here it says, defend the body and you have attacked your mind, for you have seen in it the faults, the weaknesses, the limits and the lacks from which you think the body must be saved. You will not see the mind as separate from bodily conditions, and you will impose upon the body all the pain that comes from the conception of the mind as limited and fragile, and apart from other minds and separate from its source. This is so interesting. So, what the Course really seems to be wanting us here, it wants us to look at the mind, at the body as separate. It wants us to be very clear about the yin-yang difference here. It wants us to be completely clear that this body belongs to this world. It belongs to this earth. And depending on what kind of meaning we give to the body, to the earth, to this world, it is either an illusion or it's a real world. If we look at this world with bitterness, if we see it as threatening, if we see that we need to defend ourselves, then we have fallen into the world of the ego, into the world of the illusions. Then none of it is real. But if we understand that all of this we see can have the meaning we give it, can have a lofty meaning, then it becomes a real world. It becomes real. But always keeping in mind that we are not a body. That we have a body in this reality, the same as you have a character when you are playing a computer game. But as soon as you switch the computer game off, that character is gone. It is just a mind play. And we seem to be caught up in this mind play here. And once you switch off the computer game, there is no world, there is no game, there is nothing. It is just bits of ideas coded and made appear on a screen as if there was a different world. And I find the more we are evolving, the more we are understanding this artificial intelligence, the closer we are getting to what we truly are. Now we have got this AI, this artificial intelligence. We are feeding the information into machines, and we are feeding, and those machines, they can learn by themselves. So eventually we cannot distinguish no more between machines and real people on the screen. And sooner or later, there are going to be holographic images which are going to appear in our room, and we're going to think that this person appearing as a hologram in our room is actually really there. But when you kind of compare this idea, you kind of realize, well, we have only been fed with information through our life. We've been fed bits of information through our upbringing, through the society we are in, and that is what we are believing. And this is kind of similar. This, what we are living, experiencing here, this is not real. And we are constantly trying to get back into the reality. The lesson is, if I defend myself, I am attacked. Defend the body and you have attacked your mind, for you have seen it in the faults, the weakness, the limits of the lacks from which you think the body must be saved. You will not see the minds as separate from bodily conditions, and you will impose upon the body all the pain that comes from the conception of the mind as limited and fragile, and apart from other minds and separate from its source. These are the thoughts in need of healing, and the body will respond with health when they have been corrected and replaced with truth. This is the body's only real defense. Yet is this where you look for its defense? You offer it protection of a kind from which it gains no benefit at all, but merely adds to your distress of mind. You do not heal, but merely take away the hope of healing, for you fail to see where hope must lie, if it be meaningful. A healed mind does not plan. It carries out the plans which it receives through listening to wisdom that is not its own. It waits until it has been taught what should be done and then proceeds to do it. It does not depend upon itself for anything except its adequacy to fulfill the plans assigned to it. It is secure in certainty that obstacles cannot impede its progress to accomplishment of any goal which serves the greater plan established for the good of everyone. This is a difficult one, because if each one would wait until it clearly hears the voice, then we would all just stop doing. And the world as we know it would not move on. But what I see in societies which are kind of depending on a belief, I feel that these societies are not moving on. I feel that they're using this as an excuse for not doing things. They have got often great poverty within their societies, as they are kind of not interfering with life. And I'm not 100% sure that this has been understood the right way. So let's see if that clears up here in the next paragraph. A healed mind is relieved from the belief that it must plan. Although it cannot know the outcome which is best, the means by which it is achieved, nor how to recognize the problem that the plan is made to solve, it must misuse the body in its plans until it recognizes this is so. But when it has accepted this as true, then is it healed and lets the body go. Enslavement of the body to the plans the unhealed minds set up to save itself must make the body sick. Let me just say this again. Enslavement of the body to the plans the unhealed mind sets up to save itself must make the body sick. It is not free to be a means of helping in a plan which far exceeds its own protection and which needs its service for a little while. In this capacity is health assured, for everything the mind employs for this will, for everything the mind employs for this will function flawlessly and with the strength that has been given it and cannot fail. It is perhaps not easy to perceive the self-initiated plans are but defenses with the purpose all of them were made to realize. They are the means by which a frightened mind would undertake its own protection at the cost of truth. This is not difficult to realize in some forms which these self-deceptions take, for the denial of reality is very obvious, yet planning is not often recognized as defense. This is a very, very difficult lesson. It's very difficult. If I defend myself, I am attacked. It's because the way I'm understanding this, it's basically, the course is basically suggesting that you should stop all planning and that you should stop all doing until you are 100% sure that you are hearing the voice of God. But if you are uncertain that you are hearing the voice of God, what then? How do you make the decisions? Somewhere else in the course it says, when a brother asks you something, do it. Don't argue. And I interpret that as that sometimes when somebody else asks you to do something, you accept it as a guidance, that this, what somebody else has asked you to do, is what you are meant to do. Because sometimes you are disconnected from your own higher self, and sometimes you need a nudge from the outside. Somebody else tells you, do this, and then you go ahead and do it. It is perhaps not easy to perceive that self-initiated plans are but defenses with the purpose all of them were made to realize. They are the means by which a frightened mind would undertake its own protection at the cost of truth. This is not difficult to realize in some forms which these self-deceptions take, for the denial of reality is very obvious, yet planning is not often recognized as a defense. The mind engaged in planning for itself is occupied in setting up control of future happenings. It does not think that it will be provided for unless it makes its own provision. Time becomes a future emphasis to be controlled by learning and experience obtained from past events and previous beliefs. It overlooks the present, for it rests on the idea the past has taught enough to let the mind direct its future course. That mind that plans is thus refusing to allow for change. What it has learned before becomes the basis for its future goals. Its past experience directs its choice of what will happen, and it does not see that here and now is everything it needs to guarantee a future quite unlike the past, without a continuity of any old ideas and sick beliefs. Anticipation plays no part at all, for present confidence directs the way. You have to also observe how much of this is you. Because every time I read all this, I very much believe it's me. I very much look at how much does this actually affect me? And how much of a planner am I actually? How much are you of a planner? How much do you plan in your life? How much of that planning is actually a defense mechanism? I mean, this is something to question. It is something to meditate on and become aware of. Not always do we have an answer to every single one of those questions, for these assumptions, these ideas which come to us. Defenses are the plans you undertake to make against the truth. Their aim is to select what you approve and disregard. I have to take this pillow. Defenses are the plans you undertake to make against the truth. Their aim is to select what you approve and disregard what you consider incompatible with your beliefs of your reality. Yet what remains is meaningless indeed. For it is your reality which is the threat that your defenses would attack, obscure, and take apart and crucify. What could you not accept if you but knew that everything which happens, all events, past, present, and to come, are gently planned by one whose only purpose is your good? Let me read this again. What could you not accept if you but knew that everything which happens, all events, past, present, and to come, are gently planned by one whose only purpose is your good? Perhaps you have misunderstood his plan, for he would never offer pain to you, but your defenses did not let you see his loving blessing shine in every step you ever took. While you made plans for death, he led you gently to eternal life. Your present trust in him is the defense which promises a future undisturbed, without a trace of sorrow, and with joy which constantly increases as this life becomes a holy instant, set in time, but heeding only immortality. So I read here the acceptance of what is actually happening here. I mean, when I observe my life, I can clearly see that all my life has led me to this particular moment. And I was not always accepting. So what I can read here is the circumstances I find myself here are gonna have to accept, because I am being guided this way. And my defenses and my unacceptance are just obstacles of enjoying those instants, during enjoying those moments, enjoying life. Your present trust in him is the defense which promises a future undisturbed, without a trace of sorrow, and with joy which constantly increases as this life becomes a holy instant, set in time, but heeding only immortality. Let no defenses but your present trust direct the future, and this life becomes a meaningful encounter with the truth that only your defenses would conceal. If I defend myself, I am attacked. So far, what the lesson is explaining is we need to observe, why do we make all those plans? Is it because we are defending the ego? Is it because we are defending the illusion of this world? Why are we doing it? Why am I doing this? Am I trusting? Am I the motives for doing or making plans? Is that because, am I doing this out of fear, or am I doing this out of love? Who am I letting decide? Your present trust in him is a defense which promises a future undisturbed. So it's the trust which we need according to this lesson, without a trace of sorrow, and with joy which constantly increases as this life becomes a holy instant, set in time, but heeding only immortality. Let no defense but your present trust direct the future, and this life becomes a meaningful encounter with the truth that only your defenses would conceal. Without defenses, you become a light which heaven gratefully acknowledges to be its own. And it will lead you on its ways. And it will lead you on on in ways appointed for your happiness, according to the ancient plan begun when time was born. Your followers will join their light with yours, and it will be increased until the world is lighted up with joy. And gladly will our brothers lay aside their cumbersome defenses, which avail them nothing and could only terrify. The way I understand this is we have to trust that what the jobs we have assigned ourselves, the jobs which we're finding ourselves in, are all possible holy instants. So, for example, if I could choose, if I could plan my own life just the way I want to plan it, I would not work at all. I would just record videos all day long and teach Qigong all day long. That would not provide for my family, for what I feel I need to accomplish. So there are certain obligations I have towards other people. There is obligations I have towards my clients. There is obligations I have towards my husband, my children. And I have to fulfill those. And I have to make sure that I want to fulfill them, because this is really the key. The key is that I'm choosing to fulfill them. I'm choosing to enjoy those instants as well when I'm writing the invoices in the beginning of the month, or when I'm editing this video and posting it to YouTube. This is an obligation I feel that I have agreed to do. So I might as well do it joyfully. Your present trust in Him is a defense which promises a future undisturbed, without a trace of sorrow, and with joy which constantly increases as this life becomes a holy instant, set in time but heeding only immortality. Let no defense but your present trust direct the future, and this life becomes a meaningful encounter with the truth that only your defenses would conceal. It's about trust. Without defenses, you become a light which heaven gratefully acknowledges to be its own, and it will lead you on its ways appointed for your happiness, according to the ancient plan began when time was born. Your followers will join their light with yours, and it will be increased until the world is lighted up with joy. And gladly will our brothers lay aside their cumbersome defenses, which avail them nothing and could only terrify. We will anticipate that time today with present confidence, for this is part of what was planned for us. We will be sure that everything we need is given us for our accomplishment of this today. We make no plans for how it will be done, but realize that our defenselessness is all that is required for the truth to dawn upon our minds with certainty. For 15 minutes twice today, we rest from senseless planning and from every thought which blocks the truth from entering our minds. Today we will recognize instead of plan. Today we will receive instead of plan, that we may give instead of organize. And we are given truly, as we say, if I defend myself, I am attacked. But in defenselessness, I will be strong, and I will learn what my defenses hide. Nothing but that. If there are plans to make, you will be told of them. They may not be the plans you thought were needed, nor indeed the answers to the problems which you thought confronted you, but they are answers to another kind of question which remains unanswered yet in need of answering until the answer comes to you at last. All your defenses have been aimed at not receiving what you'll receive today. And in the light of joy, of simple truth, you will but wonder why you ever thought that you must be defended from release. Heaven asks nothing. It is hell that makes extravagant demands for sacrifice. You give up nothing in these times today when undefended you present yourself to your Creator as you really are. He has remembered you. Today we will remember Him. For this is Easter time in your salvation. And you rise again from what was seeming death and hopelessness. Now is the light of hope reborn in you. For now you come without defense to learn the path for you, which the plan of God, within the plan of God. Let me repeat this. Now is the light of hope reborn in you. For now you come without defense to learn the path for you within the plan of God. So there is a plan for each one of us within the greater plan of God. What little plans or magical beliefs you can still have value. What little plans or magical beliefs can still have value when you have received your function from the voice of God Himself. The voice of God Himself. This is the Holy Spirit, the Holy Self, our higher consciousness. Try not to shape this day as you believe would benefit you most, for you can not conceive of all the happiness that comes to you without your planning. Learn today, and all the world will take this giant stride and celebrate your Easter time with you. Throughout the day, as foolish little things appear to raise defensiveness in you and tempt you to engage in weaving plans, remind yourself this is a special day for learning, and acknowledge it with this. This is my Easter time, and I would keep it holy. I will not defend myself, because the Son of God needs no defense against the truth of this reality. So while I'm reading this with you, there is the Easter time, which is several times coming to my mind. So what is the Easter time? What is meant by it? I'm hearing this question. The Easter time is a time when we are returning into eternity, when we are returning to God, when we are raising from the dead. It means we are raising from the belief that we are mortal. We are remembering that we are immortal. We are remembering that we are divine. That is what the Easter time means. The Easter time means you're returning to the awareness that you are the Son of God, the Holy Child of God, the extension of this creation, of the Creator, really. And that there is no defenses needed. And today really is about observing that, observing the 100 little of defenses we are building up, we are creating, we are defending against instead of trusting. And because we are not trusting, we're creating the problems. So for this class today, I suggest this 15 minutes seated meditation, or this longer, a little bit longer meditation where you have got time to connect to yourself. Or here you have got the whole list of Qigong classes where you can just go through, see what you are attracted to, and choose that one to apply today's lesson to.